Hey there, DoubleGDP community. Wanted to give a little bit of an update for, I guess, the sprint that is ending here on October 15th. Let's focus this particular update here on what's been going on with the DoubleGDP product in terms of customer. Lots of progress, and it's pretty exciting this past 2 weeks on the customer front. Most important of which is that we had kind of our first customer council meeting with the team from Nkwashi. So Muya was in town here in San Francisco and on this past Monday, and we did basically a several-hour working session with him on the product, on the vision for the product over the next couple of months, and really kind of working to sync up our vision for where that product might go with what's happening kind of on our customer site, like what their strategy is over the next couple of months. So that was really kind of what we're hoping our customer council will look like going forward, where we kind of like give a little bit of an update of where we're going, and we try to kind of like live sort of at the highest level of strategy alignment with the ways in which our customers are trying to grow. A couple of really interesting things came out of that meeting. Probably most important was that as we did a sort of like after we did a run through of the current working software, we spent some time talking about roadmap and really just trying to kind of listen to how our thoughts on the priorities of feature roadmap might match up with where Nkwashi is going as their community builds out over the next couple of months. And we talked through really kind of like 4 different clusters of services that we might build some features around. So we talked about security, which is sort of like the next level of work in terms on the products that right now that we've been building around gate access, so like access to the gated community. We talked about payments and the ways in which we might build some communications, some visuals, some status updates and stuff around helping Nkwashi and our customers accelerate their clients, the people who are paying on their payment plans, through those payment plans. We talked about communications, and we talked about kind of like fleet access and a lot of the asset management of the contractors, right? And like what assets are on site, for instance, like how is fuel being managed, what's on site, and how are we managing all that stuff. What was probably most important was just hearing why we would basically feel like a lot of the security and gate access features were very kind of like first order of priority for him. Second order of priority would be stuff around payments. Really third order would be stuff around kind of like communications, and fourth order might be stuff around us supporting him in terms of fleet asset and asset management on site. And we knew our orientation around some of the next use cases for security and gate access was not a surprise, and we've kind of been, or it's one of the reasons why we chose that set of features as one of the first ones we wanted to build out of the gate. But what was very interesting was listening to why supporting payments and a lot of the communications around payments might be kind of the next set of priorities on the customer side. And what's most important, and as you kind of understand, let's say like 1,000 paying clients that either round numbers or fake numbers, but let's say there were 1,000 paying clients in the Nkwashi community right now. There's sort of a breakdown between the ones who are like very kind of like clearly on their payment plan, they're meeting their payment plan, and all the money is coming in as expected, versus folks who are kind of like another set of customers who are really kind of like a little bit losing, let's call it, like they're less active with those payment plans. They're kind of just less engaged overall. And what we've been talking about a little bit is like, well, how are some of the ways that we could build our feature set to support that their execution of those payment plans, so that this like large set of customers of theirs who are sort of in the middle of the payment plans don't fall delinquent, right? Because it's such a big deal if they don't get the money in that they're expecting, right? Like that money is really important capital for the build out of the community on the one side. And then maybe even more importantly is that like as their clients accelerate through their payment plans, what happens when they finish their plans is that they start construction, and allowing more and more of their clients to see other clients building on site is a really important kind of way of making sure that like they stay engaged in the community. They feel like it's actually growing. There's sort of like that whole kind of like I don't know what's the term, as you see your neighbors doing things, you want to kind of get on board with that too. It makes you a little bit more excited to move quickly through your own payments, finish up and start building. So that's really kind of on our radar for where we can go next once the build out of some of these features around gate access are kind of wrapped up. We spent a lot of time also on that customer side, sort of talking about what's next in terms of research, right? We're planning this trip to Nkwashi for early November, and use some of the time at that customer council meeting with Mia to just talk about what would their priorities be and what would they recommend we make sure we're spending time on while we're all on site. So we're taking a lot of that feedback back, and me and our design team here are gonna set up a bunch of the kind of like the various different research tactics that we want to use in order to get the working software implemented, and kind of accelerate some of the user adoption there, from like we've got one kind of like user sort of like logged in on it right now to like 2 to 5 to hopefully like at least that, you know, their whole administrative team and a few kind of like visiting guests and contractors by the time that we wrap up our trip there in a couple weeks. So that's like one set of research activities we're really heavy on. And then we're designing a whole bunch of other ones that are sort of about future feature sets, things like co-design sessions and stuff like that, so that we can continue to dig in on the future while we're there too. In addition to like kind of the customer build out side, I suppose we are often given updates just on what's up with the company. Interesting things that are going on with the company this past sprint, including like we ran our first payroll. We set up a lot of the supporting software in order to make sure that this company can continue to have like the pieces of growing the pieces of infrastructure that allow it to grow. Things like insurance plans and workers' comp, and a lot of the other kind of things that you need to do with the state of California in order to bring employees on. So lots of progress on the company side as well this past couple weeks. So yeah, pretty successful sprint. I think we're just really excited about like beyond that the product launched, that the customer that there was a lot of learning that we got on the customer side while we were doing it. So I think that's it for this particular update. Thanks for listening.